In this video, I'm going to explain why you shouldn't pay your appointment setters per appointment or incentivize only appointments with your appointment setters. For those who don't know me, my name's Arin Darcan and I built a 7-figure white label call center for agencies working with some massive brands like Gym Launch, and now I've actually transitioned into teaching agency owners how to build out their own call centers to make their offer better and way stickier. Now, let me jump in. So, why don't we want to incentivize appointments? People might be thinking, well, hold on, Arin, I want appointments. Appointments are what my clients want. Appointments are what I'm trying to get. I'm trying to get my cost per lead super low. So my CPA, which is my cost per appointments, that can also be low. So I want to make sure that the reps are getting as many appointments as possible. So why doesn't it make sense to pay a rep every time they get an additional appointment? Well, the reason why is it's not actually the appointments we care about. We don't care about this at all. What we do care about is how many shows we get. We care about people actually showing up to the appointment. Okay. So I see this time and time again with agency owners where they're constantly trying to get the appointments. They're doing some stuff like $5 extra per appointment that the appointment setter generates. They have leaderboards all around appointments, right? But what they don't do is do any incentives for the shows. The reason why they don't usually do incentives for the shows is because it's too hard to track. Agency owners are constantly battling their clients, trying to go into Go High Level and mark their shows. The problem is Go High Level, most clients don't really care about Go High Level. So many agency owners think they've got like some magical things that's Go High Level, and most clients can't be bothered to log in and mark the shows, right? So I'll do a whole other video on how to get this. Essentially, the best way to do this is using trigger links. So you can do things like 30 minutes after an appointment has taken place, you can send a message to the client via text being like, Jane Doe had an appointment with you 30 minutes ago. Did she show? Select yes, then you can have a trigger link, press yes, or press no if they didn't, and that way it can track. So that's a whole other thing that I'll go into in another video and explain how to do that, right? But the main thing here is that we need to be tracking the shows, because again, like, appointments are actually sometimes even worse if the lead doesn't show. I was recently talking to a client in Call Center Mastery, and he thought of this term which I quite liked. It was perceived show rate, and this gets a bit complicated, but bear with me. Perceived show rate and then the actual show rate. Okay, I won't dive too deep into what these both mean right now, but essentially the perceived show rate is really, really important, right? If you're booking tons of appointments into your clients' calendars, but only half of them are showing up, that's actually worse than just booking half the appointments and them all showing up. Because your clients are going to turn up, they're going to plan their day around what appointments they have in their diary. And so if people aren't showing up, they're going to keep coming back to you complaining and saying, hey, look, no one's showing up, even though maybe half of them are showing up, which is still pretty decent, to be honest with you, if you're not taking deposits. And it just means a worse experience with your service, okay? So what you really, really, really want to be incentivizing is the shows. That's the thing we should be incentivizing, right? Honestly, any appointment setter can get an appointment. And by the way, all of this stuff, I'm saying if we're not getting deposits. If we're getting deposits or we're getting credit card details, it's different, right? But I'm talking about people that aren't collecting deposits. Getting an appointment is easy. Everyone, if you get them on the phone and you have a brief conversation with them, most people aren't going to say, no, I don't want to book an appointment. Most people will just go along, they'll do the movements, they'll say, yeah, okay, book me in for Friday at 10 a.m. or whatever it is, but they have no intention of actually showing, right? But they're just being polite on the phone. They don't want the awkwardness of having to be like, no, I don't want an appointment. They don't want you trying to objection handle or pressure them into something they don't want to do. So it's just way easier just to say, yeah, I'm going to do it, but then just have no intention of actually showing up. And that's why looking at just the appointments alone isn't good enough, okay? Because like I said, anyone can get an appointment. And what's one of the biggest things that impacts the show rate? It's quality of the call. And who determines the quality of the call? The agents. If your agent has really low energy, they aren't asking the right questions, they aren't listening to the answers of what the lead is saying and feeding it back to them and really having that emotional connection and engaging conversation, right? The quality of the call is going to be absolutely trash. The lead isn't going to feel heard and they're just not going to show up to the appointment, okay? Where if your agent is smiling down the phone, they've got high energy, they're really engaging in conversation, and I'd even say going off script at points, right? If someone gives an answer which is a little bit weird, but your agent thinks it's a good opportunity to dig a little bit deeper into a pain or try and go into what their dream scenario is after the appointment, things like that, then great, go off script and train your agent to do that. I think that's absolutely awesome, right? This all contributes to the quality of the call, okay? So if the quality of the call is bad and the agent isn't doing any of them things, then you're going to have way more no-shows. That's one of the things that when I actually listen to a call, I can usually predict if it's going to be a show or a no-show based off the conversation and how it went. You can just feel the energy, you can hear what the person's saying. It all makes so much sense. The other thing as well is because now that agent knows that they're only going to get paid if the lead actually shows up to the appointment. If the lead gives any kind of BS answers, right, or they do some kind of smoke screen or something like that, then all of a sudden that agent now is going to be way more likely to actually objection handle, right? So what you'll find is that objection handling goes straight up, right? And what I mean by this is if, let's say, your agent says, hey, we've got an appointment tomorrow at 10 a.m. Does that work for you? And the lead's like, 10 a.m. Yeah, I can squeeze that in. right? If they're just getting paid for the appointment, then yeah, great, awesome. Yeah, book that in, cool, no worries, right? But really, what do we want our agent to do there? We want our agent to say, are you sure 10 a.m. works for you? Like, if it doesn't work, let's pick another time. I want to make sure it's super convenient for you. So if for any reason you can't do that, like, honestly, just let me know, it's all good, right? Then the person probably say, well, 10 a.m. I usually do my Pilates class at 10 a.m. So maybe could we do like 1? And the agent's like, yeah, 1 p.m. works perfectly. I've got that in the calendar. Is it 1 p.m. good with you? Yeah, 1 p.m. is great. Okay, great. Now the person's actually probably going to show compared to not showing, just because the agent took that brief second to listen to what the lead was saying, hearing their tone of voice, making sure, getting the vibe that maybe it's not the best time. And now they're willing to go that one extra step and actually clarify that it is a good time and really push them on that. So there's a much higher chance of them actually showing up. Obviously, with all of this stuff, one of the next biggest things is reporting. Okay, so with the reporting, we need to make sure we have this locked in. If you are paying your setters incentive-based bonuses based on shows or whatever it is, if you don't have good reporting, the setters will start to not care. Because they'll be like, Jimmy's not going to pay me anyway because I know, like, we're not tracking it, so what's the point? The whole power of the incentive just disappears. It just doesn't work anymore, right? So you need to make sure, like, absolute worst case, you have some kind of system where you have a Google Sheet, right? You have all your appointments. So you literally can have, like, dates, right? Date of appointment, email, phone, right? And then one extra one we do is obviously like showed, right? When an appointment's booked, it's automatically set as no. And then as the client goes through and updates their appointments again, I'll do another video about that at a later time. This will come in here, it'll find the appointment and it'll mark it as a yes, right? And then you can start tracking it, and then you can build like dashboards and some cool automations that summarize how much people are owed, and you can pay them every week or whatever else. But it's really important that you do track it. Like I said, otherwise the power of the incentive will disappear. And I'd even go one step further than that as well and have like leaderboards, right? You can do like leaderboards between all your setters, right? To see who's got the best show rate percentage and give extra bonuses around that. And so if you do still want to incentivize appointments for whatever reason, you definitely can. That's not an issue. But what I'm saying is just don't only incentivize appointments. Make sure you incentivize appointments and have the shows. Otherwise, you're going to be incentivizing the wrong thing. Now, before I end this video, I want to give you a really quick story about India when it was a British colony to really drive home the importance of incentives. So, back when India was a British colony, they had this major cobra issue. Cobras were literally everywhere, and so what they ended up doing was paying the local people in India a certain amount of money for every dead cobra that someone brought to the British government. Essentially, they put a bounty on the cobra's heads. And you'd think that after a certain amount of time, the cobra population would start to diminish and there'd be less cobras around. However, what ended up actually happening was that people started to farm cobras. So they started to breed cobras, started to make more and more cobras. So that way then, rather than having to go out and hunt cobras to get the money, they could literally just, in their own home, get a cobra, kill it, then take it to the British government and get their bounty. And so what ended up happening was that even more cobras were created, and then India just come overrun with cobras, and it was a whole mess of a situation. So when you incentivize people, make sure you're doing it in the right way and that it's in line with the outcome you're expecting. If you're liking these videos, please consider subscribing, and I'll see you on the next one.